Okey-dokey. Hi, everybody. It is Penny and Kim once again, lighting up your afternoon with the 5 stars of strengthening families. Today, we are going to be continuing with our four installment, third of the 4th installments of the concrete support in times of need with teens. Did I get that right, Penny? I hope I did. If not, you could correct me. Penny's going to start us off with our check-in. Take it away, Penny.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone, back to talking about concrete support for you and your teens. Last week, we talked about the idea of helping your teen learn to advocate for themselves. We talked a lot about modeling. How do you do that positively? We talked about practicing, giving them opportunities to practice. And Kim talked about the all-important concept of having you to depend on. So knowing they have someone who has their back, that they can depend on you, helps them be brave enough and feel safe enough to venture out and to practice these skills. And again, and also negotiating that fine line between being dependable and helping them do everything. So, you know, being aware of your temperament of your teen, how much support they need, and where you're kind of falling on that spectrum between dependent and dependable and overly helpful. Yeah. So hopefully you had some time to think about that and see where you were at. So today, Kim is going to start us off with our question.
Okay. The question is, how do you know when it's time to say no or hold back on offering advice or help to your teen? How do you know when it's time to say no or hold back on offering advice or help to your teen?
Okay. So I'm going to talk about motivation here. So when I hear that question, I think about, why am I doing it? So how I know it's time is when I think it's an important learning opportunity and when it's not about me.
Right.
So if my motivation is to somehow fix them or change them or make them be a certain way or avoid something uncomfortable for myself, uncomfortable feelings like seeing them in pain, emotional pain. Yeah, so I look at this question and I think to know when to say no or to know when to hold back offering advice or help is really looking at why I would in the first place. So, you know, are they really needing and asking for my help and support and advice? Are they, or am I feeling somehow a need to fix or a need to avoid my own feelings about the situation? Yeah, that's kind of where I go with that. I think it's really important to understand why you're helping. And that's different from supporting.
Yes, I was going to make that differentiation as well. Yeah, I agree with you there, Penny, on that. What is the reason that we're offering the advice? Is it to ease? You know, it's very hard as a parent to see your child going through these tough lessons in life, and you know, gosh, can't they just learn from our mistakes? You know, here, let me just get you out of this. If this is how you do it, because often it's very easy for us to see what is very difficult for them to maneuver through. What I want to add to that is if that's the differentiation, like you said, with the support and offering up the advice, because the supportive parent would be, wow, that does suck. That, oh, I remember going through that as when I was your age, and it doesn't feel good, and it is a tough decision to make. you know, should I go? But if I do, then this is what'll happen. And they're, you know, you might know the answer to that, but you know, if you can just be supportive enough for them to feel like they can depend on you and you've got their back, it'll bring down their alarm about whatever the situation is, to know, first of all, oh, this is normal. My mom made this mistake too, right? And it's okay to move forward. It'll bring down their alarm enough where they can access their common sense and figure it out for themselves, right? So this is the whole difference between support and fixing, like you say. If we can support them, they can figure it out and fix it for themselves. These kids are smart. They just need us to have their back. So and to know that what they're feeling is normal, that you felt it too. You've maybe even made a similar mistake, and yeah, it doesn't feel good. Just because it's normal doesn't mean it feels good. And help them to bring down that alarm so that they can make their own. So often, I remember doing this with my kids, and it was just almost magical to see when that alarm starts to come down, to see how they can then take that step forward and figure things out for themselves. But it was very hard not to just give the answer, because I'm a teacher. That's what I do. I'm not a teacher at a school, but I like to teach things. And yeah, it's not my instinct is to just go ahead and fix or teach or help. So it's a little bit of control on my part to not do that. I see I can tell you've got something to add.
Yeah. So again, I really like that part about bringing down the alarm. And what I've noticed as a parent is just exactly what you're saying there, that they're not ready or willing to accept anything you have to say anyway, until they're back in their rational headspace.
That's such a good point. Such a good point. Because so often when we try to fix it, they throw it back in our face. No, even if we say, wow, you seem really upset or angry about this. No, I'm not. They could, they're not ready to hear, right? So just kind of taking it a little bit and being supportive rather than.
Sometimes all you can do is hold space for someone to vent and for them to be angry and upset, and tuck your own little difficulties with that away and just hold space for them. And sometimes it's hard to speak, and so not speaking is okay too.
I love that, Penny. I love that. And making them feel heard. Don't we all just want to be heard? Especially for a teen. Oh gosh, if they feel heard, then the next thing they feel is understood. Feeling heard and understanding go together, and that's where the alarm's going to come down. Oh, she heard me. She understood me. Oh, maybe now, right? Somebody understands. You don't feel alone.
And the beautiful part about that is, if then is an appropriate time to offer some pearls of wisdom, there's a much better chance they will be in a position to receive that in some sort of a way, where they wouldn't be when. And
offering the pearls of wisdom, if you offer both sides of the coin. Oh, I can see why this is such a tough, between a rock and a hard place, because if you do this, then that might happen, but if you do that. And so what that does is that gets them seeing the other side of the coin, seeing the other person's perspective. So many of us are just stuck in our own ways. It's my way or the highway. Well, no, you don't get along well with people like that. You have to be able to agree to disagree even. But in order to do that, in order to agree to disagree, you have to be able to see the other person's point of view or the other side of the coin. And this way, if you're offering both, when you're having them feel heard, you're paraphrasing. What did they just say? They just said they feel this way. Oh, I get it. You feel this way when you do that. Oh, I bet it would feel like this if you did that. So, oh, that is a tough spot to be in, But again, if you've done enough of the work from the previous week, which was letting them know that they can depend on you, then the spot between the rock and the hard place isn't going to feel so bad when you know you're not alone there. And then the alarm comes down, and then we have access to our thinking part of our brain. Love that. So
one more, oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
I had one more thing. When you step back and allow your teens to handle their things, or when you step in and handle them for them, you're conveying something to them without saying anything. And I think it's really important, and this is true from, again, little to big, is conveying a sense of their competence, our belief in their competence. So it's not a conscious thing that they might go, oh, my mom thinks I can't do anything right, or my dad thinks I can't do anything right, although that can come with time. It's just the idea that, well, they do it for me, you know, then I obviously can't do it for myself. So yeah, it's important to step back sometimes to allow that idea to come forward, so that you're conveying to your child, your teen, your emerging adult that, yeah, you got this. I believe in you. And that's part of being supportive is, yeah, you got this. Yeah. And you can handle whatever the outcome might be, whether the outcome be good, whether the outcome be heartbreaking, I'll be here and you can handle it.
We'll get through this together. Oh gosh, that's such a good point, Penny, because when we say, here, let me fix this for you, or I'll, you know, you're basically saying, because you can't do it yourself, you're not capable. And so and like you say, it's an unconscious message that they don't even know that they've received. So yeah, that's,
and you're not intending to send either, right?
Right.
And yeah, parents aren't maliciously or intentionally trying to convey to their children that they're useless. It's just a byproduct of the situation. If it's happening on a continual basis, right? Again, this is the tightrope we walk. Do we take advantage of those caregiving moments when our teens ask, because that's an important part of connection. Hey, mom, can you help me with my socks? Yeah, I'd love to help you with your socks. It's not really because he can't put on his socks. It's because there's that moment of tenderness between us. So again, parents, you have that lovely job of negotiating that line between understanding and recognizing, you know, your children's need for connection versus over helping, or yeah.
So your socket example reminds me of when somebody holds a door for me. You know, it's not that I can't open the door, or, you know, or opens the door for me. It's not that I can't do it myself. It's that somebody's doing something nice for me or nurturing for me, and it builds the relationship. It's a connection thing, like you say. It's not that your child can't put their socks on themselves. It's a connection thing.
So again, we have this lovely, tricky tightrope that we get to walk between putting on the socks every day to the point where the kid doesn't know how to put on their own socks, or recognizing that they're lacking a little bit of connection, or they're in a nervous time, or they just need something from you. And maybe you don't want to put on their socks, but maybe you recognize that need and you fill it some other way. Right.
Exactly.
I know you can put your own socks on. I'm going to do it for you today just because I love being next to you and spending some time with you before you go to school. Or you know how to put on your own socks. I'm going to sit right next to you and I'm going to rub your back, and we'll talk about what's coming up next. Or, right, there's all kinds of ways you can handle that and still make that connection and accept that bid for connection from your child or teen.
When there's a request for connection, even if it's a subconscious request like that, asking for the socks to be put on, then making sure for the rest of the day you're helping to make that connection. So using your eyes, lighting up in their existence, you know, inviting them to inviting them to exist in your presence, it will go a long way in that connection piece that you're talking about. Yeah, awesome. So what's our challenge for today, Penny?
What is our challenge for today? Well, you're going to get tired of hearing us talk about awareness, but let's have you try to become a little more aware of your motivation for stepping in. So when you feel a need to advise or step in, take over, do something for your team, take 30 seconds and just think about who you're helping, why you're helping, your reasons for wanting to help. And
You want to save them from the pain of whatever situation it is, from an emotion. If you're wanting, because emotions are what move us. So if you're wanting to save from that emotion, then that's something we need to think about. Why is that we want to do that? Is it emotional for us?
So separating your own stuff from nurturing and growing your medium-sized human. So yeah, take some time to think about that. And again, sometimes that can be difficult to do. And if you find that you're stuck in this pattern, you know, you might want to reach out for some support and help yourself to figure out why some of these patterns are going on for you. Yeah. All right. Well, that's number 3. It's a wrap. We'll see you back next week, Friday at 1 for the final 4th part of concrete support, times of need. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.